Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome to the last part of this class once again. Here we'll talk about Sulfur Cycle, and just like we discussed the previous classes, we're going to discuss Sulfur Cycle on the basis of the definition, the reservoir, maybe the biological role of sulfate, the sulfur in biological system. We'll talk about the cycle and then the impact of human, and then the consequences of the impact. So, just like we defined the previous cycles, sulfur cycle also involve the movement of the sulfur as a mineral, as a nutrient between this ecosystem component. We talked about lithosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, and atmosphere. And the main reservoir, can we say, the major reservoir of the sulfate is a lithosphere. It is stored in form of gypsum or pyrite, just like we mentioned in the case of phosphorus cycle, that phosphorus is stored in phosphate rock in form of apatite. So also sulfur is deposited majorly there, even though, like we earlier mentioned, that each of these components were regarded as a reservoir, but the one we are mentioning here is the major reservoir. So in all, it is a reservoir contain a lot of phosphorus, just like as a human being, you contain a lot of compounds containing sulfur, and as such you can be considered as a reservoir for these elements. But the main reservoir here is the lithosphere, rocks containing phosphates, or rock containing sulfate in form of gypsum or pyrite. So let's quickly look at the biological role of sulfates or sulfur in our system. And this is something that cannot be hidden. You already know, you can mention quite a number of amino acids that contain sulfur. So without sulfur, those amino acids may not be produced, definitely will not be produced. And we talk about one carbon metabolism is adenosine methionine, although it's still one of the amino acids. And what is the role of adenosine methionine in one carbon transfer? So the quite a number of reactions you can talk about, including those ones primarily involved in cell cycle, involve one carbon metabolism. We also talked about iron sulfur protein. It's been used in the synthesis of iron sulfur proteins. You can mention quite a number of iron sulfur proteins, from globular proteins to even I think when it comes to the structural proteins, enzymes, etc. And also these cellular redox molecules, well-known cellular redox molecule glutathione, the 3 amino acid molecule that is well known in playing an important role in oxidation reduction reaction. So you can mention quite a number of them. We don't need to go nitty-gritty into that, but just to tell you that this sulfur is actually needed by the body, and it's played a very important role, and that one of the reasons why this sulfur needs to circulate. But this one we're talking about in you as a human, but the same type of reactions can also be found in other animals, microorganisms, plants, etc. So there is a need that is to the living. And of course, when we go also to the hydrosphere, it's also needed. And even we talked about rock formation, where we mentioned the role of phosphate in rock formation in sedimentary rock. And equally, sulfate also play the same role, because sulfate in soil also, in water, it also combined with these metals to form sulfur salts that also deposit over a longer period of time and lead to formation of the rocks. And we mentioned the process of soil formation, pedogenesis, that the soil itself is formed from the rock. So you can see even the component of the lithosphere itself, because when you mention soil also contain all of these components for it to be to be synthesized or to be formed. So they form the major component. They form the major component of almost all, because we also mention about atmosphere when we talk about how even the atmosphere historically was formed, and when we say the atmosphere is actually formed as a result of the combinations of the surrounding gases in the space regarded as atmosphere. And of course, sulfur containing gases are also there and form part of the or component of the atmosphere itself. So it's just like everything is circulating, so to see, at a point in time, but not altogether at a point. So let's go to the cycle properly. Having to mention the reservoir, and we said is rocks or soil itself, or lithosphere generally, and how does it mobilize into the environment, or how do these things, or what are the processes that lead to the release of this into the environment? What releases this into the environment basically include volcanic eruption, and that is the natural process, and then weathering, the process of soil formation. So they release these sulfates that have been attached to rocks or to the soils, and then into the environment. When they got into the environment, then they got solubilized and taken up by plants, and then from the plants, animal got their own after eating the plant. That's when it goes through the food chain. And when animal and plant die and decay, these things were acted often by decomposers, where we mentioned what are those decomposers, and the decomposers carried out or break down these organic molecules and then release the sulfate, just like in the case of mineralization, form of like we mentioned in the case of ammonification, where we said this mineralization form of reaction or converting organic to inorganic. So also this called the sulfurization is also just like ammonification, the process by which the organic sulfur is converted. We can see, for example, breakdown of cysteine produce beta mercaptopyruvic acids, which later the pyruvic acid is released, and you have the beta mercaptan group, which is the sulfur group. So at the end, you see this microorganism releasing hydrogen sulfides, which goes into the atmosphere. You have just like in the case of ammonium that is released. Just that process of decompositions that usually associated with putrefaction, that smell related to decompositions. So this hydrogen sulfide is released, and also during I mentioned volcanic eruption. When volcanic eruption or volcanic activity takes place, this does contain a lot of substances, including the sulfates, usually in form of sulfate, which can further oxidize from SO2 to SO3, and even the hydrogen sulfide also can be oxidized once released in the atmosphere, because sulfur is a very reactive element. And also inside the water, some Phytoplankton can also release sulfur compound, usually in form of dimethyl sulfides. So once they go to the atmosphere, they can easily get oxidized to form SO3, and the SO3 in the atmosphere can be washed down by rain. So you can have the SO3 combined with rain, and it's form a precipitate of sulfuric acid, so typical of what is regarded as acid rain. So you have a cases of acid rain, or you have a rain that is slightly acidic. Either it's by combining with these sulfates, or even carbonic acid from yes, carbonic to form carbonic acid. So it comes down in form of rain. So let's see human impacts, how human affects this is basically what we explain. Now human impacts, how human affects sulfur cycle. So human activities like combustion of fossil fuel, because some of these, forgotten to mention that some of this sulfur, just like when mineralization takes place, often decompositions of organic substances, of course some will be released in form of hydrogen sulfide. Some of these hydrogen sulfides even utilized by some organisms, and then use it for energy production, usually as electron acceptor. So some will escape and then go down to the soil and decompose over a lengthy period of time. They now form part of the fossil fuel. So the fossil fuel contains this sulfur, etc. So when you use a fuel that contains sulfur, so combustion of fossil fuel releases a lot of sulfur into the environment, and then you have a bush burning, utilization of fertilizer for agricultural purpose, because some fertilizers actually contain sulfur, and industrial processes also release a lot of sulfur in form of sulfates, some even in form of solution being released to the environment. And also in the mining activities, a lot of this sulfur were released into the environment. So you will have a high concentration, especially when in form of hydrogen sulfide, in form of sulfate be released to the atmosphere. So the concentration of this will be high in the atmosphere. So when it rains, there is high possibility of having a rain that is a bit very acidic, or a much more lower pH than usual, and that can the acid rain is regarded as acid rain, and we know acid rain can actually affect both aquatic, terrestrial life, including the microbes. So it can kill the microbes. So killing the microbes in the environment can actually affect agricultural productivity, because microbes play a very important role. Typically, we've mentioned just now, like how they play important role in releasing quite a number, or making quite a number of these minerals available. We talk about the role of microorganisms in solubilization of phosphate. We talk about their role in nitrogen fixation. We talk about their role also in making the sulfate available for plant utilization and uptake. And so once the acid comes and kills them, there is a problem. And also even the growing plants, it can actually disrupt the structure of the leaves by killing, disrupting the structure of the leaves. Then the photosynthetic machinery, chlorophyll, will be affected, and then the plant can no longer synthesize or collect energy from the sun and CO2 to convert it to sugar. The same thing happened to also aquatic life, so they killed everything. So that's why when you see an incidence of acid rain, it usually used to be very catastrophic. It damages the ecosystem. So these are basically the things that cause, and but just like we earlier said, that this SO2 causes an increase in temperature, earth temperature, which makes it to be part of the greenhouse gases. And we've mentioned quite a number of measures to be taken to overcome problem that leads to increase in global temperature, which we popularly regard as global warming. So I think basically I've covered basic things I need to say about sulfur cycle. If there is anything left for me to say, maybe, although I have already said it, and how this some of these sulfur are actually used by microorganisms to produce energy, while some use it, we take in sulfates for the synthesis of organic compound. So I think you still need to maybe read and understand what is dissimilatory sulfur reduction and assimilatory sulfur reduction. You also need to know this. Just read and maybe get one reaction for each: assimilatory sulfur reduction and dissimilatory sulfur reduction. Let me write it for you so that it will look like at least is a reading assignment. I'm not giving an assignment, and we usually used to give even assignment as first CA to stand, but we can't make it this time around because time will not permit us. So I think that's the only reading assignment I think I will want to give. So please read on this, and then when I come for the class, we discuss. If we have questions, we attend to the questions, and then I think we can arrange for the test. All right. I wish you all the best.